Okay, so picking up from the last video, what we're going to do is we're going to start using some CSS to style this so it can look something like what we have here, at least put things in position. So what we're going to do first is make sure we have our styles tag here inside of the head, and you have your title here, and you have your head here, and you have your body here, and make sure all of that's encapsulated within the HTML tags. So let's try to go in order. We'll first do the background first, and so I'm gonna go up here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start typing the CSS. Go ahead and follow along. So if you remember from the previous video, that background has an ID. I'm sorry, here's the ID, or it's a class, so it's called back. I'm gonna come up here. And I'm gonna give that a color of hashtag B. Let's save that. So I want to show you something here. So although I refreshed it, you'll notice there's nothing showing up here. And this is kind of to give you a review of what we did in the last video. So here you see this says back, and this says back. Although this right here means a class, it means an ID, but this is a class. So you always have to remember the symbol that goes in front of each type. This is a class, so the symbol would not be a hashtag; it'll be a period. And now I can hit save. So when I'm referencing the ID, I could have used a hashtag, but I'm referencing a class, so I have to use the period. So now when I save this and I refresh, you'll see that the background actually changes with 100%. That means 100% of the page, and then the height 100% of the page. Fresh. And the color, this is going to be the color of the text itself, and I'm going to put something like hashtag. I don't have to actually do this. If I wanted a particular color here, I don't necessarily have to put these here. I can actually just put a color. Let's say if I said something like white, I can do that. But sometimes you'll go to websites and they'll give you these. These are hexadecimal numbers, so they're going to be numbers, and they're going to be alphanumeric and symbols. So they're going to be alphanumeric and symbols. You don't have to use these. I could have easily done this and said blue. And so either way is fine. Once I do that, I'm going to have that as white, and then I'm going to go text align. And I want the text to be centered for this one, since this is going to be, everything that's in here is going to be centered, and I'm just going to push it over to the left. So once I'm done with all of that, I can go ahead and refresh this, and that's what we have here. I can push these over to the left or to the right. Depends on how I want this, but I do kind of want, let me see, this over here. This is fine. So anything that's within the back will do this, but then I'm going to start affecting each one of these separately. Maybe I don't even want this centered. I'll just take that out and make it go back to its normal state, and I'll just move things over as I see fit. So now let's talk about this LW class right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause real quick and type that out. All right, so after I save that and I refresh this, you can see here's what we have for that one. I kind of wanted that one big because that's going to be the label of what area we're currently in. Now all I need to do is go over these doors here. So I'm going to do one of these doors. Let's do this. First, let's do this ID. here. Then now let's do the doors first. We'll do all the classes for the doors first. And that's going to be... I think the width should be about 50. Depends on which one we're talking about though. But this is fine for now. We could just change it later. 50 pixels. And then the height should be about 100 pixels. And then the color. We can choose anything from that. I'll choose... And then you can choose whatever color you want. The color is inconsequential to what we're doing. So I'm going to text a line for anything that's inside of the door. So if I wanted to put like what I have over here, like E in there, I'm going to want that centered. And then the thing is, let me refresh this. So what I want is... Let me change this color because I think this is interfering with the back color that we currently have. Let me change this to something else. There we go. So that's the color for the inside, and then the back, the full-on color for the whole div, I'm going to change once I get to the ID. And you know, I can even do that here. That's not really something that I need to change for everything. So I'm just going to say background color. And all right, so I'm going to make these yellow and close that off, hit save and refresh, and there they help. See, right now they're smashed together. They're still separate, but they're just smashed together, and all I need to do, I can actually put a border around these if I really wanted to see it. Right now it's not that necessary, but if I really wanted a border, I can just go here and just, you know, it's actually the border style. So and the style of border I want, I'm just going to put a double line or something like that just so we can see it, see the difference. I'll go ahead and save that over here. You can see the double line over here. It's taking on the color right here of everything that's in there. So it's taking on the color of the text. I mean, there's different kinds of borders. So there's the double. I can do something like groove. You'll see if I refresh that, you can see that's a little different. There's something called inset. Refresh. So you can see that actually almost looked more like a button right there. Maybe we'll just keep that one for now. But as you can see, these are still separate objects based on the HTML that we have down here. So now what we want to do is we want to start doing the CSS for these right here to start pushing them around. But each one is going to be a little bit different. So the CSS is going to get pretty long. So right here I have the CSS here, and my body's going to be down here. So I'm going to be scrolling all the way down, meaning let's say if I put all the CSS on this page, it's going to go all the way down. Then I'm going to need all my JavaScript on this page, and that's going to go all the way down. And it's going to be this big mess. So really, if you really want to code more efficiently and you want your work to be more manageable, we have to actually take this out of here and put this in a separate file. So the best way to do this is to go ahead and create another file by right-clicking here. You can right-click on your folder. Right-click, here's our folder right here. I can right-click on that folder and create a new file. This time I'm going to call the file cave.css, and I'm going to hit enter. And now this is where I want to put all my CSS. And the reason why the system understands that this is CSS, number one, is because of the .css here. And it will contain CSS, so it will recognize it. And then when I'm going to go back here into the HTML, I am going to simply take this part out without the styles tag. And I'm going to paste that in here. Now, what you're going to see is when I go back here and I refresh, well, first I have to save it. So when I go back here and I refresh, you'll see my page went back to normal. But what we intend to do is actually connect the CSS with the external file. So right now we have two separate files. So if I were to right click on this file, and I were to go to Show and Explorer, you'll see we made this file just now, and then there's the cave file here. So we want to connect them. And then when we're dealing with CSS, not necessarily JavaScript so much, CSS, we want to go ahead and link that. So the way we do that is we get rid of this styles tag here. And then I'm going to just go ahead and start typing link because that's what we're doing. And it's going to be of a different type. Let me see. I'm going to put that it's going to be of style sheet. And then the type is going to be of text. And then we're going to give it its location as a reference here. And see what brackets does. It looks at all the files inside of the folder that you're currently working in, and it lets you select from those. But you can easily have just typed it in there. But as you can see, it's much easier with brackets helping you out. And now all I need to do is go ahead and close this off. And then once I save that, all those styles that's in that link that's now here is linked to this HTML tag. So now when I go back here, as you can see, I have my styles back. So now we can work exclusively in our style sheet without having to worry about the HTML in the way or the CSS going into too long. We can have the style sheet as long as we want at this point. And we can link multiple style sheets. We can just have a style sheet here, make another one, and have another link up here that links a completely different style sheet. So there is no limit to how many links that you need, that you can have when it comes to styles. But one thing you will notice, though, is that we don't have a closing tag here. We don't have to, as you can see. So let's go ahead and finish off with our style. So I'm going to go now here to the style sheet, and I'm going to finish one of those buttons and come back right when I'm done. All right, so now what we have is we have a door, and then we have a west. So all the doors, all the things that's called doors, whenever you put your mouse over it, it will change the pointer, and this is the style that will happen. So when I save this, I'm gonna go over here, and as you can see now, when I put my mouse over the door, we only have one, it turns to a finger. And over here, you'll see this is in particular the west door, and I changed a few things in this so that way it's absolute to this to the div that it's in. It's coming from the top, and I'm pushing it 2% from the left. So here's the left side, and it's pushed 2% away from the left-hand side, and I gave it a back color. Now all I got to do is the other one. So I want north here, east here, and south here. And basically, if I just copy this west and I put it down here, and remember what I'm doing is I'm referencing these tags here, the IDs. So all I got to do is call this east and save that. And I think I probably want to change this. I want the margins there. I want the top margin. Maybe about 10%. Okay, that's right. Now I think we can just do left here. Let's push it from the left. And then we'll make that about 95% from the left. And let's save that and let's see how that comes out. Refresh. Oh, good. We're close. There's something up about our background. We can deal with that later. For right now, this is good. If we take this 95, if yours looks something like this, like mine, you can push it over a little bit more. So I'm just gonna say 90%. Refresh that. Yeah, something like that. Let's go 92%. There we go. This was a little further away, but I think I like how this is, so it's always going to be close to that edge. And once we start doing everything else, it'll come out just right. So I'm going to copy this east. And just to let you know, it's better that you type this out because it's going to help you learn it much better. And then I'm going to put north here. And now in north, I want it the bottom. I want it from the bottom margin. So instead of the top, I'm going to put bottom. And I'm going to want that to be about 55%. And I'm going to want the top here to be about 5%. Let me see how that's going to look. Okay, there's the north. Now all I got to do is push it over left. And that's going to be about, I want it about 50% to the left so it could be almost to the center. And I'm going to save that and refresh that. There it is. Now I don't want this long ways like these. I don't want it standing up like this. I want it on its side. So I'm just going to change the dimensions of this. So I'm thinking maybe we'll go 150 width and then 50. So we'll go to width 150 and then we'll go the height 50. Yeah, something like that's much better. So I want the north and the south to be sort of like this, these doorways. And you remember, we can replace these with images later on, but for right now, we just want the structure of everything to be in place. Now all we need to do is the last one. It's going to be the south. I'm going to pause it for a second and I'll come right back. Okay, so here's what we have. We have our west, east, north. We can put this in order. I mean, whichever order you want. Over here at the bottom, if you look at the south, here's what we have for the south. So you go ahead and follow up on that one. And then when we look at the info box, that's that box down here with the colon on there. That's the info box that I want stretched out in the center. And I want it 50% from the bottom, meaning from the bottom of the div, I want it 50% in the 50% from the bottom going upward. So I want it somewhat in the center as it could be, depending on the size of the browser. And then I took the body, actually, the entire body of the HTML, and I just made that black. So this actually should change because I'm overriding it with this black background. And anything with a button, I increase the size of the button. So with this CSS, we should be close to what we intended to have. So if I refresh this, you can see how now these are different colors on purpose. This is in the center, which is great. And we're close to what we wanted to have before. Now, I'm going to have more buttons here, so I'm not really worried about that being off center. But this is actually looking close to what we wanted, at least something that we can work with. In the next video, what we're going to do is start focusing more on our JavaScript. So let me scroll through this one more time in case you need to pause and copy. So here is this part. And then from the south down to the button. There's that. And then when you look over here at our HTML, we finished that a while ago. We haven't even touched this at all. So there's this here. And I'll see you guys in the next video where we start looking at our JavaScript and making this thing think for itself, or buttons working, that sort of stuff. So I'll see you guys then. Talk to you next time. Bye.